Come on in.
Thank you.
The great thing about doing class here with the windows wide open.
You'd hear that bass with the windows closed.
Hmm?
You'd hear that bass with the windows closed.
Probably. Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday class on loving kindness here at the Dharmavum Temple. My name is Alex. It is wonderful to be here with you this evening, as it is every time I do this class. It's always something new and exciting and fun, and I'm in a better mood when it's nice and light out when I start class, and it's just it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Hello to everybody online. Hello. Please sure to say hello, like Jean said hello. Hi, Brian and Linda. Hi, Jean. Good to see you guys. Even though we have class here live here in person at the temple, there's still plenty of people who they just like coming to class online. I like that too, and I like having you guys. So thank you guys for being here as well. What we do here at the loving kindness class, the format is kind of the same as any other class really is. We're going to have this short introduction, and then we are going to do a meditation on loving kindness. And if you're new, don't worry, I'll be giving instructions and I'll be guiding this. And then afterwards, I had a whole thing about breaking down loving kindness kind of into its component parts, going over the Metta Sutra, and all of that, but of course I left the house without all my notes. So there you go. That's okay. You can do it next time. The word that before I actually get started with this, is anyone here brand new to the Dharmavum Temple? Have never been to the Dharmavum Temple before? I said, welcome.
Thank you.
Did your friend bring you?
Yes, he did.
Okay, I thought so. Is there anyone here who it's not your first time to the temple, but it is your first time to Wednesday? Awesome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. So the word that we're talking about is metta. And metta, this word is from the ancient Pali language that is pretty close to what we think the historical Buddha spoke. And when you translate an ancient word like metta into English 2,500 years later, the richness of what metta means doesn't translate one-to-one to like one word in English. So metta can mean loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, harmlessness, unobtrusiveness, amity, concord, all those different types of things, right? And it's simply a wish to be happy. And it's a wish to be happy, for ourselves to be happy, for others to be happy. And it's a wish for ourselves and others to also do the things that cause happiness. And if you know the motto of the Dharmavum Temple, you probably know what causes happiness. Because the motto of the Dharmavum Temple is, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's it. In a nutshell, that's what we're trying to do. And that is kind of the crux of this loving kindness practice. We don't want to harm anybody ever with our words, with our thoughts, with our actions. And loving kindness practice is a way to do that. And so what I would like to do is I would like to read to you the Metta Sutra. A sutra is just a teaching. And these are the Buddha's words on loving kindness, if you want to get an idea how to do this practice. And he says, this is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. That is so beautiful, and I love reading it like every time. This is just amazing to me that someone came up with this, 2,500 years ago, in back in the Buddhist time. What they would have to do is, because most of them, the monks and most of the people in general, were illiterate. None of these teachings were written down. It was all an oral tradition. And so, and you'll see in a lot of the sutras, if you ever read any of them, that there's a very repetitive nature to them. And it was a repetitive nature because that's how they remembered it when they were reciting it. And you had to remember everything. So this was, but there's nothing too repetitive here. So this one must have been, kind of difficult to remember. Just to think about how this was written 2,500 years ago, and the relevancy then and today is the same. I was reading a commentary on the Metta Sutra by a particular Buddhist monk earlier today, and this commentary was written several years ago, and he was saying that with all the destruction and all the negative stuff that's going on with the world today, blah 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 blah, and that wasn't even now. That wasn't even now with all the stuff that's going on in the world today. So it's always terrible stuff going on in the world. It's probably always going to be that way, and that's okay. We have a wonderful antidote to that, and that is this loving kindness practice. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to guide this practice on loving kindness, and so what we're going to do is we're going to first do this, kind of get connected to the breath. It'll be about 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to start our loving kindness practice by doing this practice for our benefactor. Right? And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness. Someone that's really easy to do this practice, where you just think of this person and you can think of all the ways that they have been of benefit to you, their kindness, their love towards you. And you can smile. Actually, I suggest you smile during the entire time if you can. And so we're just going to radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness, wishing that they do the things that cause happiness for themselves. Right? They're positive and skillful thoughts, words, and actions. And then the second part, we're going to imagine our benefactor, it could be the same one or a different one, doing this practice for us. Right? And so our only job really is just to receive all of their loving kindness into our hearts. Right? And this is where you can kind of start to see a little bit about, if is there any tension? Is there any part of your heart that can't receive all of their loving kindness? Any part of your heart that feels that you're maybe not deserving of loving kindness? And that's okay if that's something that you feel. Can you then just breathe into that part of the heart that's giving you any tension? And don't try to change anything, just breathe. Give that tension some space. Give it some expansion, some openness. Because the next part of the meditation is we're going to do this practice for ourselves. Loving kindness for yourself. Right? And sometimes this could be a little difficult for some people. But over time, I guarantee you, if you keep on doing this is going to be your favorite part. Still, you can keep your hand over your heart. Still, you can smile. Even if it's difficult, that's okay. And then we're going to do this practice for all beings in all directions. Right? Again, I'm going to guide this, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Any questions before we start? All right. Let's go do this, guys. So again, just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice, wonderful seated position that's comfortable and sustainable for you, so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit, a good strategy is we can sit like a Buddha. So you can imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment, because each Buddha has their own tree of enlightenment. Ready for the days abiding. This wonderful practice of loving kindness. And getting connected to the breath, we can take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing it, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. But paying attention to the breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. And then after a few seconds, just understanding what kind of breath can you take that will keep you awake, alert, present. Maybe it's a longer inhale or a longer exhale. And then adjusting the breath as necessary. So just for the next couple of minutes, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And so, to begin our practice of loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, we're first going to think of our benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love, great kindness, something we can easily recall from someone. It could be anybody, family member, best friend, teacher, anybody. So just call this person to mind and wishing them happiness, wishing that they do the things that cause happiness. And the way we do this is just to radiate loving kindness to them. And however you understand that word radiate, I like to think of a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs. This beam is warm and pulsing and things that for me connote love and kindness. But you can radiate however you feel like. In gratitude for all of the love and kindness that they've showed you. Just radiate loving kindness to them. Smiling when you do so. And so we'll do this for the next few moments. Loving kindness for our benefit. And shifting our focus just a little bit now from loving kindness for our benefactor to now we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And it could be the same benefactor or a different one. It's all up to you. There's a lot of flexibility here. You can picture them in your mind's eye again, and they're just doing this practice for you, radiating loving kindness for you, to you. And the only thing you have to do is just receive all of it. Receive all of their love, receive all of their kindness, all of their friendliness. And if there's any part of your heart that can't receive, that's all right. All you have to do is just breathe into that part of the heart and just give it some space. If it resolves, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. Just keep breathing and keep doing the practice. So we'll do this for the next few moments, imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And now we can shift our focus again to doing this practice for ourselves. So important to really have that experience of love and kindness in our own heart. Because if we can have that, it's like an unlimited wellspring. And it naturally just comes pouring out onto everybody else. Because if you have that experience in your own heart, you would never harm anybody. You would never want to harm anybody. We only want good for everyone. And so you can just, to do this practice, you can imagine yourself as, radiating loving kindness back to yourself, feeling your heart get bigger and warmer. Or you can just repeat phrases of loving kindness gently to yourself, phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can even imagine your heart is filled with loving kindness and how it just kind of spills out onto everyone. So we'll do this for the next few minutes. Loving kindness for ourselves. Finally, we can explore the limitless quality of the heart and do this practice for all beings in all directions. Because we all have this potential for limitlessness. If we develop the skill of loving kindness for ourselves, for others, there's no limit to the people we can do this for. If you want to start small, you can start small with like everybody in this room, and then everybody in this city, and then everybody in this county, and then country, and just kind of go that way. You can do that. Or just go for broke and just do it for all beings in all directions. That choice is yours. But you can do it. It is possible. And this is our strategy. So we'll do this to end our meditation. So just open your eyes when you're ready. Making sure you keep that mindfulness of loving kindness about you as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. It's okay to stretch, so we'll do this for the next minute or two. I put my little jacket on. So for anyone online, anyone here live at the temple, if you have any comments or any questions about whatever you want to ask a question on, doesn't matter. Any comments about your experience of meditation, I would love to hear it. And we'll be asking about that just a second here. I'm going to stretch some more. Already. All right. And so before we get to questions and comments, one of the things that I'm always glad that I can take my own advice when I need to. For a while, it was weird because I lived in the temple. I lived downstairs for about 2 years between 2018 and 2019, the end of 2018 and the end of 2020. And in that time, that kind of disrupted my flow, my daily routine, which I like my daily routine. And so I started meditating less and less. I figured I'm in a temple and I teach meditation, and I meditated less. I did less often and for less amount of time. And I don't know, I just kind of got into that rut. It was very, very strange. And so when I moved into my new place, I said, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. We're going back to how it was like before I moved. And I always say to people, because I've been asked many times, like, how do you start a meditation practice? And I always say, start really small. Start with something you can do. Like, start with maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Doesn't matter which one. Or 15, whatever is comfortable for you. Let's just say 10 minutes, and so meditate for 10 minutes every day, in a place, in the same place every day, and do that for 3 months. And after 3 months, you can go up like 5 minutes, but don't go up more than that. Just 5 minutes. And go up in these really small increments, so you can keep doing it. Don't be like those people who go to the gym in January thinking they're going to get back in shape and just go gangbusters and just do too much too soon and then stop, after 3 weeks or stop after a month. So go really, really slow, because we don't want you to stop. And so do that until you get to about an hour or 45 minutes. Doesn't really matter. Or something that's really comfortable for you and doable. It could even be 30 minutes. It's fine. And so that's exactly what I did. And boy, does it work. Boy, does it work a lot. So I'm glad that I was able to take my own advice. I'm almost back up there where I used to be, but not quite. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read something here. Graham says, I feel refreshed and much more positive. Good. Glad to hear it. I mean, that's kind of what this meditation is designed to do. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not always that way, but that's what this is designed to do. Absolutely. Refreshed, being more positive. It's always that way. It's not always, but usually that way for me. Anybody else? Any questions on the instructions? Anybody want to talk about anything that was easy, anything that was difficult?
For me, it was breathing. All week, I couldn't really breathe deeply. So today, it was I don't know if it was my stuffy nose before or something, but I don't know. I felt like I could really breathe in today fully.
Good. Doesn't that help though?
Yeah.
Helps a lot.
Yeah, it helps you release this tension.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of times, because this weather has gotten weird, and there's been a couple of Santa Anas, and when there's a Santa Ana, I have chronic sinusitis, and so just my breathing gets really interrupted. It just does not feel good. But whenever I sit down to meditate, and there's this very mindful kind of breathing, it always just seems to work. Even if I'm stuffed up or have been stuffed up, it's just something that just kind of seems to work when I stop and be really mindful about what I'm doing. I've been asked a couple of different times, is loving kindness, is this a mindfulness-based meditation, or is it something else, a couple of other different kinds of meditation? And mindfulness is its own thing. Loving kindness is its own thing. There's a mindfulness aspect to it because you always want to maintain connection to the present moment. But it's its own thing, these heart practices. It's its own thing, definitely. And so we just want to make sure that we're doing the mindful part of trying to stay connected to the present moment, and while we do this meditation. So 25% on the present moment, the rest of the time, the rest of our attention is on kind of what we're doing. Yes, sir.
I'm very tired
Yeah.
tonight. Sleeping well last night. So I had a hard time maintaining the object of the meditation.
Uh-huh.
And as somebody who's practiced a lot of mindfulness, that's what I found myself falling back into.
Yeah.
So just so I didn't.
Yeah.
If I can focus on the breath, I'll stay awake.
Yeah.
That's about all I could do tonight.
That's perfect.
I did the object for a couple of minutes, and then I found my mind I just couldn't hang on to it. And I was like, well, I shouldn't grasp. Just let it go.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I say that's what you need to do. As well as if you just want to stop meditating and open your eyes and take some deep breaths and stretch in the middle of a meditation. And a lot of people don't. I say that and people understand that, but they never do it. And it's really kind of funny. And I get why they don't do it, because they don't want to disturb anybody else, and they don't want to seem like they're doing it wrong for just getting up and stretching. But I'm telling you, that's perfectly fine if that's what you have to do. It's okay. It's okay. We want to make sure that we're doing what we have to do so that we are comfortable, so that our meditation experience is as positive as possible, without thinking, I'm doing it wrong, look at everybody else. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. It's their business. They're probably thinking of vacation or cheese or something. I don't know, which is okay. But so you just said you reverted back to mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's funny you say you stretch and all that stuff. My mindfulness teacher would be like, do that mindfully.
Just
be aware of
it. It always brings me back to this awesome story that I've told a number of times, where Jack Cornfield, who was a monk back in Thailand, and I think it was the 60s, and he told his the head of Ajahn Chah, the great meditation masters. He goes, I get so sleepy. I get so sleepy every time I meditate. I get so sleepy. What do I do? What do I do? He goes, well, see that well right there? Go sit on the edge of that well and go meditate. And so he did, and he got sleepy, and he was it really started him because he literally almost fell in the well. And he goes, after that, I never got sleepy. And so that's this kind of skillful means of teaching that kind of always just kind of tickles me and is just kind of a wonderful. I mean, I just for liability's sake, I couldn't do that, or nobody here could do that. You know, well, they told me to go sit by a well, and I fell in, or go sit by a cliff, and the cliff collapsed. You know, but I like those kind of stories. So how's everybody doing? Did you feel that big gust of wind at the very end?
Yeah.
It's still kind of going a little bit. And another thing about the practice, you'll notice because of where we are here in this residential neighborhood that's close to a hospital, there's always going to be an ambulance almost all the time where I've led a meditation here at this time on Wednesday nights at 7. Almost all the time you're going to hear an ambulance, right? Ambulance. And so this is a really good opportunity, especially like for mindfulness or even loving kindness. Whenever I hear an ambulance, I automatically do loving kindness for the person in that ambulance, or loving kindness for the person that ambulance is going to go pick up in service and try to help.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So in your instruction, there wasn't really much around like saying the loving kindness statement for each of the layers or whatever. It was more just you didn't say exude, but
Radiate.
Yeah, radiate.
Right.
Thank you, radiate love. But so I was curious about that because I've always done loving kindness where you have the may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live life with peace and ease and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thoughts for me anyway are kind of what help generate then that feeling of loving kindness.
Yeah.
So it's hard to just spontaneously generate it without having something to kind of relate to, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So it didn't feel super tangible.
No, right.
Right, when you were just radiating versus actually saying the words,
Right.
which I gave those words when you're doing it for yourself, right? And so that was a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
And so I used to do the words only, and then I switched to radiate. And the reason I switched to radiate was because when I read the Metta Sutra, it says radiating kindness for the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths. And there was this one monk who said, just radiate. However you understand that word, just radiate. And so I've been giving that instruction for when you do it for everybody else. But either one works. So it's different, yes. But if you say to yourself, I'd rather just do the words because it's more meaningful for me. That's actually more tangible, and it's something that I can kind of relate to more than do that and just don't worry about what I say.
That's what I
Good.
think.
Yeah, that's fine.
I sort of did too.
Yeah, and that's fine. And this whole radiating thing only is pretty new. And when I heard this instruction from this particular monk, I just thought, well, that is just groovy. I like that. I'm just going to do that. Cool. But yeah, if you want to just say the words, that's perfectly acceptable. I would just do that. Absolutely. Oof. So how are you guys just in general? Do you feel that do you feel more normalcy? I mean, I know we're sitting here with masks and masks on, but is there a little more normalcy going? Do you feel like you've kind of got back to whatever you think normal is, a routine or something that can kind of ground you and kind of make you feel okay? A little bit? Are the kind of, different things that you've had to do, because of a pandemic, is that still kind of got you a little bit? I mean, still kind of got you a little discombobulated and just tired from doing it all this, these two years.
Kind of feels to me like, I mean, this is the first time I've actually worn a mask in quite a while.
Yeah.
So it feels like normal.
I was up in the Bay Area this past weekend, San Mateo, so this is south of San Francisco, it's between like halfway between San Francisco and San Jose. So in San Mateo, and I had to go into a Whole Foods, and I think I was looking for an ATM or something, and in the Whole Foods, like 70% of the people were still wearing masks. Like, and even not just a Whole Foods, like movie theater, like everywhere else, most people were just still wearing masks. It was interesting. But I still wear a mask in a lot of places, but that's not necessarily all of them. So what does Gene say? I still wear masks in stores and it just feels normal to me. No big deal. That's good. No big deal. Because it is no big deal. It does get annoying, but it's no big. It really is no big deal when you consider kind of what you're doing and why you're doing it. All right. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and sharing in this practice with me. I really appreciate it. So let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this practice, this discussion, be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen as the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of your evening and rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
You do the same.
Take care.
Last time I sat with you was before the lockdown.
Oh my God,
That's
really?
how long it's been. Probably 3 years.